All right, let's talk about autism and what it really is. Not the clinical definitions, not the stereotypes you see in movies or TV shows, and definitely not the weird stuff that you see politicians say on TV.
Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children. And these are kids who will never pay taxes, they'll never hold a job, they'll never play baseball, they'll never write a poem, they'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted.
Now, I don't know about you, but I'm autistic and have done literally everything on that list, including paying my fair share of taxes, playing plenty of basketball, writing tons of poems, getting married, and going to the bathroom myself plenty of times. It's nonsense that makes most people confused about what autism actually is. If you yourself might be autistic, might be starting to think that you might be autistic, or you just want to self educate, this is for you. So, what is autism? When most people ask, what is autism? They're expecting a neat clinical definition. And Merriam Webster's dictionary describes autism as a neurodevelopmental disorder that typically appears by age 2, that is variable in expression, but usually diagnosed by persistent impairments in social interactions and communication, and by stereotyped of behavior, activities, or interests that may be accompanied by cognitive or language impairments. And sure, that is a medically correct definition, but it doesn't actively reflect how autism affects a person day to day. And autistic people can get easily overwhelmed by simple tasks that neurotypical people can just deal with ease. One of the best ways that I've found to explain autism is like this. Autistic people and neurotypical people are running different operating systems. Neurotypical people are on Windows 11, and autistic people are on Linux. On the surface, it seems both systems should be able to do the vast majority of the same things. They're both computers, after all. Both can run fast, handle complex tasks, and create incredible outputs, but they're inherently different, and we need to treat them as such. Windows 11 is used by the vast majority of people. It supports almost all major applications and is the most popular operating system for the vast majority of computers. It supports gaming, content creation, and most enterprise applications, which makes it a good choice for just about anyone trying to do anything. Windows is designed to be familiar, user friendly, and predictable, kind of like the default social operating system for the world. Linux, on the other hand, is like the autistic cousin of the OS world. It's an operating system that is deeply logical, extremely capable, but often misunderstood or ignored by the mainstream. It's free, open source, and highly customizable, but it expects you to meet it halfway. In that sense, Linux is a good metaphor for autistic people. It's not built for the average user, but for those who know how to use it and get what they need and are willing to shape their environment around how their brain works, it's good for them. Neither system is worse or better. They're just designed with different priorities in mind. Windows works well for the majority, and Linux works well for the people that it's built for. These operating systems use different programs to achieve similar goals. A tip or habit that works flawlessly on Windows might crash Linux immediately, and that's not Windows' fault. If a neurotypical person just says, make eye contact, it's easy. It's like saying, just open this Windows only app on Linux. What's the problem? I can do it. Why can't you? It's not a matter of effort or intelligence, it's a compatibility issue. There are plenty of things that work well across both systems, but there are also many tasks where the instructions just don't translate. And calling an autistic person difficult, stupid, or dramatic because you don't know how to operate their operating system is like yelling at Windows because your Mac software won't work. It doesn't make the autistic person broken, it just means you didn't bother to learn how their operating system works. And if you want to understand autism and not just the diagnostic criteria, but the actual lived experience of autistic people, You have to understand what happens when the operating system becomes overwhelmed. When autistic people get to the point of getting overstimulated that they can't take it anymore, they have shutdowns and they have meltdowns. Both of these are a result of not having your support needs met over a long period of time and results in autistic burnout. An autistic meltdown isn't a tantrum. It's Windows trying to say that it's running too many heavy programs at once until it blue screens. Everything crashes outwards, crying, yelling, intense movement, all because the system is overheating. An autistic meltdown is a reaction to intense, overwhelming, or distressing sensory stimulus and can be triggered by feeling overwhelmed. Meltdowns are not a conscious behavior that can be changed. They are uncontrollable responses to overwhelming feelings and an overwhelmed brain. It's only when you take away that overwhelming stimulus that an autistic person is able to come out of their meltdown. This can include using coping tools like weighted blankets, fidgets, or my personal favorite, a good pair of noise canceling headphones. If you yourself are not autistic, you can help your autistic friends when they are in autistic meltdown by staying calm and helping remove some of the overwhelming stimulus. This can include things like removing dangerous item or people from the room, grabbing comfort items for them, and redirecting them or offering different choices to try and calm your autistic friend down. It's important to understand that freaking out with them is going to do nothing good. Helping ground them will help them come down in time. An autistic shutdown is when a system protects itself by going into low power mode. Speech stops, movement stops, etc. And a shutdown, similar to a meltdown, is a response to overwhelming stimulus that causes a reaction. The only difference now is that the reaction is inwards and not outwards. And autistic people during shutdowns will often become non-responsive or powered down in order to cope. This involves difficulty moving, speaking, thinking, or even feeling, and is a protective mechanism to shield the nervous system from too much input. Processing becomes internal instead of external. Both meltdowns and shutdowns are the brain's way of saying, too much input. I can't keep running the way that you want me to. And these aren't character flaws. These are just system responses. Autism isn't just about the social differences or the sensory differences that one experiences. It's also about the internal machine and how it's designed to work differently. And different doesn't mean bad. It just means different. Now that we talked about what autism is, we should talk about what autism isn't. Autism isn't caused by trauma, although many autistic people do have trauma, and we can get into that in another video. Autism isn't caused by vaccines, as much as Donald Trump and RFK Jr. want you to think that it is. And it isn't a quirky or bad personality. And it isn't a choice. It isn't just some childhood phase that you get to grow out of. Autism is a neurological condition that affects every part of your life, from sensory issues that no one else can feel to having a hard time maintaining friends. Autism never just takes a break. It constantly affects how I move throughout life, including where I go and how long I'm able to stay in an overstimulating environment. Despite all this, autistic people are still people. They still have hobbies that they love, families that care about them and that they care about, and aspirations that they would love to achieve. When people ask, what is autism? The truth is, autism is a different way of experiencing life. It's a different way of sensing, thinking, communicating, relating, and surviving. Autism isn't a tragedy. It's not some malfunction, and it isn't something that needs to be fixed. Autism is a pattern of humanity that has always been there. building things, inventing things, analyzing things, noticing small things, questioning, and creating things. Autistic people are some of the reasons why we have many of the technologies, stories, discoveries, and systems that the modern world relies on. But the modern world is also the reason why autistic people are exhausted, misinterpreted, misunderstood, masked, isolated, and oftentimes unseen. Autism isn't the problem. The world isn't built for autistic brains. And if you already understand that, then you're closer to understanding autistic people than most schools, workplaces, and politicians ever have. This channel plans on breaking down these ideas honestly, personally, and unapologetically. Because autistic people deserve spaces where they don't have to translate themselves and where tired doesn't need an explanation. If you're autistic, neurodivergent, or just curious, welcome. You're in the right place.